All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Youmacon 2014 StarCraft 2. We are in the losers semifinal in game number 2 of Yoshi versus SpyderSlayer. SpyderSlayer currently up 1-0, moving into game number 2 of King Sejong Station LE.
That's right, and Yoshi, if he wants to stay in this, needs to win the next two. So SpyderSlayer is probably feeling pretty comfortable right now. He's got a game that he can lose and still be in it and continue on in the tournament. And, I mean, even if neither of these players is able to take number one, they are both capable of getting more money by winning this match, because this is going to determine the fourth and third place position. Well, at least the fourth place position.
Yep, absolutely. We saw some really good execution by SpyderSlayer to really kind of prevent Yoshi from playing his game. We'll see if Yoshi makes any adjustments this time to kind of do with that. We haven't seen any Swarm Hosts yet this weekend, and SpyderSlayer breaking them out for the first time here, and they seem to be pretty successful, but we will see what happens here in game number 2 as we go into King Sejong Station. In the lower right-hand corner, our yellow Zerg, his name is SpyderSlayer.
And in the top left-hand corner, down a game, it is the purple Terran, Yoshi. I guess that's probably pink, isn't it?
Something like that.
You know, us gentlemen don't have the best color.
Yeah, it's definitely not purple.
I guess not. Okay, it's pink.
I guess it's a little harder to tell on your screen, because on mine it has this giant pink thing right here.
Oh, yeah.
Now I can see. It's definitely looking at the command center. That definitely does look like purple.
At any rate, neither here nor there now.
It's certainly somewhere.
Both players discussing what is and isn't IMBA, and I think they're both claiming that their own race is the IMBA one. So that's a little bit opposite of what it normally is.
Yoshi's over there. I wish I had the little floating camera to see he's cracking himself up. Oh, all right, but yeah, Yoshi is going to be under duress here by the drone here that is stressing the heck out of George, the SCV, who's trying his darndest to just build this barracks here. He's going to have to stop halfway through, so this is going to slow down Yoshi a little bit here. He does send over another SCV that continues the building. Drone is feeling a little bit scarred himself. He's going to go back and do some work. This map for Yoshi is definitely a little bit favorable, I would think. Just the angles the chokes are very choky.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of them, whereas a lot of times Yoshi likes to block those off with buildings like command centers and planetary fortresses to really direct traffic.
Yeah, he definitely takes control of the map with his buildings. He likes to either force you to hang out there a while and whack at him so he can reposition his army, or force you to go where it's currently positioned.
Yep, so it looks like SpyderSlayer is going gasless here, at least in the opening. Got his spawning pool about 1/3 of the way complete, completing the training of his drones from their cocoons as they pop on out. Natural expansion is about halfway done now. Yoshi is just starting to build some Marines. That's a little bit differently. Last game he opted for getting a Reaper or two to do some scouting and check things out, but going for some Marines. If it's anything like his previous games, I expect him to kind of get up to like the 6 to 8 Marine range and use those to kind of get some space around the map a little bit. But he's putting his natural expansion down at the actual natural expansion location.
SpyderSlayer continue to go gasless, and Yoshi does know that. He's seen the gas geysers, knows that there's nothing there. Going back in just to check to see if they have been taken yet, realizes that they haven't, so he's going to go down to the natural, see if they've been taken there yet also.
Basically just telling him that SpyderSlayer is going to be going for queens and lings and or a third base here probably eventually. Some lings headed out, going to be putting a little bit of pressure on the expansion here of Yoshi as he tries to get that established. He's going to put up a bunker, so it should be pretty safe here. But looks like now SpyderSlayer just kind of trying to get control of his own base, getting this SCV to be dead as it was on creep. Fairly easy for the Zerglings to chase down.
Yep. So a few more Marines in production. We'll be able to fill out that bunker. It looks like he's going to be moving around a little bit and building a reactor from this barracks. Going to be swapping over that factory as soon as that's complete, or they both complete rather. Now we're starting to see some gases from SpyderSlayer 2 going up in the main, but only 2 base still. 2 queens in production, 2 queens on the field, so we'll be going up to 4 of those. And it looks like Yoshi is building another command center here to kind of finish up a wall, forcing any lings to have to go all the way around through the mineral line if they wanted to try and get up the central ramp.
Yeah, that bunker there definitely is able to control that space, and putting down an extra command center, like we mentioned earlier, just forcing the Zerglings, if they want to get into the main base, they're going to have to go all the way around the command center within the firing range of that bunker.
SpyderSlayer now taking his 3rd base, and does have metabolic boost in production, so Speedlings will be coming down here, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of units on the map at this point. Really only 3 Zerglings. They're just sitting at the base of the ramp, keeping an eye of what's going in and out of Yoshi's base. But now we're starting to see Hellions come on the map, and there's really nothing back at home, aside from the Queens, to handle this.
He is really ramping up the gas income here as he's getting his 3rd base, which is probably going to end up being for Ling upgrades, and he's going to be able to stifle out that SCV there before it can make it in too far. Also starting a wall here so that the Hellions will not be able to get in. The 3rd base here is going to be fairly exposed, though, for quite a while until he can get some kind of static defense around it. They're going to check it out, see that it is there, and maybe go up into the main base.
Nope, they're just going to head on home.
Yeah.
Don't even want to bother.
Queen is going to go down. SpyderSlayer is going to be having a little bit of an advantage here, similar to Yoshi. Yoshi really likes to use those sensor towers and spread them out so he can see the position of units along the map and get good warning of when they're coming. SpyderSlayer would probably be advantaged here to just continue the creep spread as much as he can and force Yoshi to use those scans to be able to take that out instead of using them for mules or to scan to, like the last game, he was able to have a few scans to help out with the Swarm House, but it looks like those big batch of Hellions, as we mentioned in the last game, are going to be headed across the map. Looks like it's going to be about 5 here, but there are not too many. Oh, yes, big drone transfer going on to the 3rd base, so SpyderSlayer is going to have to be very careful, but, oh, okay, but they just decided to turn around.
Yeah, they did.
Nope, and going to go back. Just waiting for a couple buddies. Hey, catch up.
I mean, that does help SpyderSlayer quite a bit, though. He's able to put down a Spine Crawler. He's able to get some Roaches out now. Does have a few Queens out front, so that little bit of time is going to make Spider's defense a little bit easier.
Yeah, and they just keep waiting, which is if he would have went in the first time, he would have been able to get a lot of drone kills. But now Roaches are out, like you said. So now these Hellions have really lost their opportunity to get much done. They could swing around the backside, but on creep here, these Roaches are going to be able to catch up with them. And yeah, I don't think Yoshi was able to get done what he wanted to with those.
There is a Banshee out on the field, however, and just kind of hanging out there for now. Second one is in production. It does have the cloak researched as well, so those will be playing a factor here at some point.
No real upgrades for anyone yet. SpyderSlayer does have 1-1 about to finish, as well as Roach speed. Yoshi does just have a +1 started for his vehicles, so SpyderSlayer will have a bit of an advantage here for the upgrades for at least a short period of time, but there are some mines on the ramp as well as a bunker, although there is nothing in it and not too many Marines around there. It is a nice sturdy wall there.
So SpyderSlayer taking a 4th base, it's drone to build that, walking right through the Hellions of Yoshi. I'm not even sure if Yoshi knows that that's there. Okay, he does know it's there.
Nope, here comes the Hellions into the 3rd base. SpyderSlayer will be very critical for SpyderSlayer to react to this quickly and get the drones out of there. So far, 5 have gone down. This is exactly what Yoshi wants to do. SpyderSlayer doing a good job of getting them out, but they're bunched up a little bit. Mineral walking them through, along with the Spine Crawler and Queen, doing a fairly good job, but still was able to save a decent number with only a little bit of health left. Did lose 10, though.
Yeah, and that does make a big impact in the economy. It is 58 drones to 51 SCVs currently.
Income is still in SpyderSlayer's favor, though. 1,600 to 1,000 on the mineral front and fairly even on the gas front. So SpyderSlayer did just have a bunch of drones just pop. So looking at the units, it is now 66 to 52. So even though he did kill some, SpyderSlayer is still in the lead as far as the workers go.
Yoshi now attempting to take his 3rd base. He is greeted by a big glob of creep left by an overseer, or an overlord rather, and Marines do chase that away, but he's going to have to wait for that creep to recede.
Yep, this is a best of 3, so if SpyderSlayer does win this game, he will move on to face Winter in the loser bracket final, which in which case the winner of that will move on to face Desro in the grand final. But The Roaches here are under fire here by the tanks and the Hellbats, as that command center has not yet felt safe enough to land.
So this is quite the differential from what we usually see out of SpyderSlayer. He's now getting Hydralisks, and he is getting Ventral Sacks this time, so we will be seeing Overlord drops of some sort on this map.
Aha, Banelings? I haven't seen any Baneling nests so far.
Nope, just Roach Hydra, it looks like.
This is a different spin on the game here from SpyderSlayer from last game. He is going to have +2/+2 finishing up here in just a moment. He's going to be going for the backdoor here, which is probably a wise decision. I mean, look at this. Besides these rocks, there is literally nothing over here. He's defended the front extremely well. Looks like Yoshi is just beginning to notice this. He's pulling his units back. These rocks are going down really fast.
Oh, yeah, they very much are.
Going here to try and make a engineering bay wall, but he's going to be able to get that down. Tanks are going to be able to siege up. SpyderSlayer looks like he had a little bit of an opportunity to be able to get up that ramp, but has let it pass at this point.
Oh,
He
man.
needs to get back. Oh, man, the damage. So much.
Lots of damage indeed. They do have the +1 upgrade for that damage, but
It's an interesting expansion here from SpyderSlayer up on the right side, just outside the third base of Yoshi.
and Yoshi doesn't know about it. There is a mine right outside that, and it looks like we're going to be seeing Swarm Host once again.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a good call on SpyderSlayer's part. He seems like he's pretty comfortable with that. You know, sometimes you see players go Swarm Host, and it's just like, let's try Swarm Host. But it seems like he's really kind of been working on that a lot, as he had very good positioning on them throughout the last game.
Huh, this is SpyderSlayer's getting a lot of different tech here. He's now putting down a Spire as well, getting a +1 melee upgrade. So finally these Banshees are coming in to do some damage, to get 4 kills and clear out that gas geyser. The Queen is doing a lot of damage though, and that Banshee does get taken out. Not even an attempt made to try and get it out of there.
Yeah, and SpyderSlayer also, I mean, it seems like his style here is very expand heavy, as he's put down an expansion on the left side as well. Yoshi,
And that one's even within the radius of the sensor tower.
Yoshi did scan, and he saw that the Hive was most likely on the way. As you can see the upgrade happening. I'm not sure if he saw the Spire or not, but he did see the infestation pit jiggling around as if some kind of upgrade is going on. And right now, SpyderSlayer has literally every map on the base except this, or every mining base except this one.
Overlords are filled with Roaches and Hydras. They are taking a long way around the back side, trying to skirt out of the sensor tower range and drop in the back, it looks like. But he's going to be greeted by a lot of missile turrets if he chooses to go that direction.
There are a ton of missile turrets back there. So now he does have this base on the right side set up and established. There are a couple drones there. The mine, obviously, by this point, knows that the base is there. It can see the creep. But this drop is the thing that we're going to be focused on right now. There are so many missiles, he's just not going to be successful.
There are a total of 20 missile turrets on the field right now. One goes before dropping any. The second one does. Okay, so they did release their payload for the most part. One did go down with some, but Roaches and Hydras are now in the base, and the tanks are scrambling to get back up there.
And he does have 2-2, so these Roaches and Hydras are doing a ton of damage here. And the Vikings even there to assist in some way, but tanks now sieging up. These Hydras aren't going to be able to get out of here, but they are getting a lot of damage done. Going to stop some mining of the gas there, but almost take out one tank.
Yeah, they did some damage, got some SEV kills, and I think more than anything else, we were able to put his opponent off guard a little bit. Now we do see a Hellion run by on whatever the lower left-hand corner base. I don't even know what base to call that now. There's so many, and there's not really a whole lot being done about it, just the Queen trying to take whacks at it.
Yeah, now the Swarm Hosts are set up on the right side of the base at that expansion. There are a bunch of drones sitting out here. I'm assuming these are going to be turned into spores and or spines at some point. Swarm Host now running into a bunch of mines here and going to be doing some damage to these tanks. One goes down, one just has a couple hit points left and does end up going down. So 2 tanks down already, and more locusts are being generated. There are a good number of tanks here. Yoshi does have a few more tanks this time than he did last game, as he hasn't produced quite as many Thors, as we haven't seen any Mutalisks yet.
A lot of spine crawlers going down at this base. It looks like he wants to make that the central operations. More Hellions are running back into that left-hand base, and one gets taken out before even morphing into a Hellbat. Hellbat is keen on taking out that Queen, though, and it is going to be able to do so.
Yeah, those Hellbats have quite a bit of life. That Queen doing all it can just to do some damage to it. The drone's actually going to have to be sicked on it if he wants to end up finishing take it out. And it is doing a lot of damage here to these drones. SpyderSlayer needs to pay attention to that. It's like Meatless going to be on the way here. And he did have that attack down here at the, I don't even know what to call this, the base we're looking at. And kind of pulled some of the Thors back down while those Swarm Hosts are working on getting their way towards the center base here. It looks like they were able to take out the gas geyser, but between that planetary fortress and those tanks, they're just not able to get many shots in.
And the tanks are moving forward a little bit. Yoshi does have 4 that have moved forward. It looks like he's rethinking that and moving them back a bit.
He's going to go ahead and make a wall here at the central base so that those run-bys will be stopped a little bit and put some tanks behind it as well. So Yoshi being a little bit more successful this game about setting up some forward bases. Looking at the income, it is still highly in favor of SpyderSlayer, though.
SpyderSlayer is approaching 200 food, and Yoshi is supply blocked at 170 now after losing some more supply depots to those Swarm Hosts. Swarm Hosts are repositioning, and they have been scanned as just being
tons of Meatless headed into the main base here of Yoshi as they fly right on past those missile turrets. Not a whole lot of defense, taking out 2 Banshees that are kind of wayfaring there, but now going after the Vikings. It looks like Yoshi was not really controlling them all that much. Looks like he is going to be able to take out all these Vikings, but the Thor is getting some big hits on this Meatless, and now he has to fly through the turrets on the other side to get out. Yeah,
so that was a lot of Meatlisks lost there, trying to move into the other base and pick on that mineral line, but there are just missile turrets and anti-air every single place.
These Meatless are kind of trapped back here now because there are missile turrets on either side. Now they're kind of being baited back in here by these Vikings and Thors, and he's going to definitely lose all of those.
Yep, so Banelings are being morphed in at the left base nearest to Yoshi. He's going to try and walk that in and do some damage to that wall over there, and they are able to take out 2 supply depots. Once again, supply blocking.
Honestly,
Yoshi.
I think the splash from the tank and Planetary Fortress took out the supply depots. Locust now coming in to take out some turrets here at the central base, able to get a couple of shots off, but the tanks so spread out here, just not able to really get in. So many turrets by Yoshi.
Yeah, and you know, he's really afraid of the Mutalisks, but really what the damage, there's a lot of damage happening from these Swarm Hosts. He's really got to figure something out with these.
Yeah, high-sec auto-tracking is completing too, so the turrets will be all that more dangerous here as there are a couple mines out front here as well.
Corvin Reactor is also almost done, which means that those Ravens are going to be starting with more energy.
The mine at the base of the ramp was taken out by the splash of those tanks.
7 Vipers in production now for SpyderSlayer. And he has an Ultralisk Cavern that is researching the chitinous plating.
You know, what we haven't seen from Yoshi in this game that we usually see is that he has not been able to get out on the map and do many drops or harassment to SpyderSlayer. He's kind of been able to kind of do his own thing. There's one Swarm Host kind of left back here that is kind of rallying Locust, but he was able to take out this base on the right, but that's mostly because SpyderSlayer has turned his attention to the Locust towards the central base.
And I think that Yoshi's really looking to try and expand again here. He's running low on minerals on a lot of his bases, and he's able to get his mineral count up a little bit. But I mean, if you look at the banks between these two, SpyderSlayer is nearing over 5,000 gas, nearly 10,000.
It's over 9,000 gallegation.
I mean, this is a lot of minerals. He's just been sitting so close to 200 for so long. So now we do see that there are Vipers on the map.
Honestly, I think SpyderSlayer is trying to get these Locusts up near the SCVs so that the splash from the tank will help him do additional damage there. These Ravens, though, are going to be a bit of a challenge for him. He's going to have to find out a way to deal with those. They are detecting. Oh no, the Vipers are unattended here, and the Vikings are just having their way with them.
Oh my.
That is a huge loss here for SpyderSlayer, but they are going to be able to save a couple of them and go past the Spore Crawlers there. But Ling's now on the field, so Yoshi is going to have to worry about that. Looks like there's only 1 tank here sieged up and a Planetary Fortress. They're just going to run on in, and he's just going to go for it as there are a couple Hellbats. They do spread out, but mostly just kind of get cleaned up here.
Yeah, the ones that were trying to make it into the main base didn't get very far, and the ones in the natural were also cleaned up fairly easily.
Yoshi is once again supply blocked, however.
That's right. So Swarm Host did get take some damage. There was some Raven attacks done to them, but they did survive, and they continued to shoot their volleys out.
So Locust continuing to make their way up into the central base here. Tanks continuing once again to shoot them, but they are getting some shots in on these SCVs. Is not really allowing to mine gas out of this left geyser. Yoshi is fairly rich on gas. He's really starving on minerals, however. He needs to set up this base here on the right, but just has not been able to just yet. He is completely mined out in his main. Natural is getting pretty close. Third base is highly oversaturated and will be mined out shortly. So he's really only mining off of about 1.5 bases right now.
SpyderSlayer getting a lot of Zerglings. He's at about 73. And trying to get those upgrades for him. He's only just about finishing the level 2 attack upgrade for those.
Banshee's now taking out a few of these swarm hosts that were making their way across the map. Looks like Hunter Seeker missile has been set. He needs to really move some of those three Hunter Seeker missiles. They certainly can't hit when they're burrowed, can they? He's like, haha, mind games.
But now it looks like SpyderSlayer's setting up quite the wall of his own here with all these spore crawlers and spine crawlers at the front of that base. And he's, it looks like Yoshi will eventually be able to take this base, but I think SpyderSlayer actually forgot about this swarm host that's over there.
Yeah, SpyderSlayer actually, I mean, Yoshi's kind of getting what he wants here right now. I mean, he wants to take this base, he wants to kind of push out a little bit. And SpyderSlayer hasn't really completed filling in the map here with, oh, look at this, a Thor drop.
That could be interesting. And it looks like it's headed towards a base that really doesn't have anything there.
No. That would certainly do quite a bit of damage. SpyderSlayer is, he does have 3-3 on the way here for his melee units and making 54 Zerglings. So, I mean, that's probably a pretty good choice here. I mean, if he gets some Zerglings up here in this tank line, the splash from the tanks alone will be doing quite a bit of damage to the frontline tanks. And that a gank there on some mines to pull the mine back with the Vipers there.
So the Thor has landed in the main base of SpyderSlayer, and there is a lot of tech buildings here, targeting currently the Spire that is researching the Flying Carapace level 3. That is going to go down before that finishes. If he focuses the fire, and it gets transfused. Transfused again, so the Lings are going to be able to take out that Thor after all, with a miracle run in there.
Oh, Greater Spire coming down now, Gallegation.
Yeah, it looks like SpyderSlayer is basically just getting all the technology. He has the money for it.
He did see that too, because the medevac is still there. So some Zerglings are headed in here on the left side. Oh wow! Actually, the Zerglings went in just at the same time that Yoshi killed his own planetary fortress, so that he could move out here and take the base on the left. SpyderSlayer doesn't really. I get the impression he doesn't really care about this base. He's not really mining anything but gas from it. Mostly just a placeholder and some additional gas. But Yoshi has set himself up here on the right side base. The income now is slightly just in favor of Yoshi, so SpyderSlayer needs to be sure to keep control of this, but all the banelings coming into the natural expansion of Yoshi. This is going to be brutal. All of the tanks and Thors get just exploded and obliterated here by SpyderSlayer.
But look at that Raven count right there. He's got 12 Ravens, 3 more in production. He's got Ravens all over the place, and that's going to be I think, what he's planning on winning this game with.
I don't know how, though. I mean, you could use turrets. That's a lot of turrets.
Yeah, it is.
But
did he think that he was maybe playing Protoss?
I don't know, but I mean, SpyderSlayer now is sort of transitioning into just a ton of light units. He's got 3-3. He's got Adrenal Glands. These Zerglings are absolutely brutal. I mean, not something you want to run into. And he's just going to keep doing run-bys like this. He's got so much money. He's got over 11,000 gas and minerals. Yeah,
so I mean, honestly, what SpyderSlayer needs to do is just, he's got the economy for it. He just needs to keep tossing units at his opponent. Like, he has to stop these bases, and by any means necessary at this point. He can't allow Yoshi to continue to expand.
He's got a bunch of banelings coming in here on the right side. I'm going to be quite quiet about this. I don't want to make sure anything happens, but there are a lot that's going to be directed exactly where you were mentioning, to that right side, and he's really just trying to fortify this left side here to try and get another expansion as the creep is receding from the base that was there, and there's really nothing over here, Gallegation.
Yeah. Mutalisks are back in production now. 3 Banshees are taking out another base.
Oh, there's some swarm hosts here that are unburrowed, and all of the Banshees and Vikings are here. But let's look up at the right side of the base as the Banelings are rolling in, taking out that planetary fortress, which will deny the mining of Yoshi on the right. That was a huge investment of Banelings, but I mean, right now, if he can just keep the economy down of Yoshi, he can just bleed him out right now.
Yeah, and that's what he needs to do. He really has to bleed Yoshi out. He cannot allow these bases to continue to go down.
So right now, SpyderSlayer not really producing anything, maybe deciding exactly what he wants to do. He's putting down another hatchery. He does have a decent number of Mutalisks on the field. Now, Yoshi has been kind of destroying his own missile turrets because they've kind of been more in his way than anything from when he made them the first time. But now these turrets from the Ravens will be a little bit more advantageous, especially with the Mutalisks. Tank setting up not as much. Well, there is a nice little turret here up on the high ground. That's a neat trick.
That is a neat trick.
So Yoshi now flying in another command center, a replacement for the one that was displaced moments ago. So he will be able to continue mining here. But, I mean, his mineral income is not a whole lot. SpyderSlayer's is actually lower right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's mined out at pretty much all of his bases. He's got nearly 20 idle drones that just aren't doing anything, and he's losing the bases where the drones need to be mining at. So
yeah, SpyderSlayer right now, I think he's in the position where he's going to make maybe 1 or 2 more waves of light units here. And then start moving into what's going to want to try and attempt to win it in the game. He could start doing some ganks with these Vipers right here of the either Ravens or Vikings into the Spore and Spinecrawler wall he has here. I mean, they are going to go ahead and put down some 100 secret missiles on these Swarm hosts, but to be honest with you, I think those Swarm hosts are completely. He needs to really watch the Vipers, though.
And he's just, he was really trying to get those Vipers into the cloud of Yoshi's flying units. It did not happen.
SpyderSlayer just does not have any pressure right now. He's broken the Zerglings into the side base up here. I mean, he's really forced Yoshi to spread out his defenses, so he's not having as easy of a time defending these little attacks. So now he's forced to pull back his Vikings and Ravens back here to the side base, because this is really the most critical spot to him right now.
I mean, this is the least mined of the bases that Yoshi has, and SpyderSlayer needs to take it out. He's got to figure out a way to get some damage done here. He had really good aggression, but he's just not being able to capitalize on it now, and his production has really gone down quite a bit. He's got lots of money. There's no reason why he should not be maxed at all times.
He's taking making 23 Corruptors right now to deal with this air force that Yoshi has here, and he's gonna have and a bunch more Zerglings. So he's gonna Yoshi now is supply capped. I mean, it's really impressive how Yoshi has maintained his army, though being mineral strapped for a decent portion here. The Mutalisks trying to catch some of those tanks while they're undefended there, but not able to do so.
So now a lot of Corruptors are teaming up here with the Vipers and the Mutalisks, and really at this key base right in the middle with all these static defenses. Both armies are kind of hanging out here. Now the Thors and Hellbats are moving forward, and Yoshi's just beginning his march across the map. He's going to try and keep denying bases.
Yeah, Yoshi is getting into his comfort zone here with all of his units. He is at max supply. He's at max upgrades. He's basically spending money on command centers right now for mules so that he can continue to sacrifice these SCVs and still be able to have that income.
And I mean, this flying army of Yoshi is fairly, abrasive. I don't know what you necessarily do about that. There's a lot of Thors on the ground, so he's got the Corruptors, but the Thors will take those out. He's got tanks to and Hellbats to deal with any Zerglings that are coming through. He's really got a lot of answers here, and I'm not sure what SpyderSlayer is going to try and do. Now we see 42 Banelings in production. He's going to probably
Banelings are rolling their way down this ramp here towards the third base of Yoshi. He found an opening. If he can get past this planetary fortress, which it looks like he's not going to be able to, as he pulled the... Oh, could be close. There's one Baneling chasing them down. He goes right and blows up every single SCV right there. That was fantastic.
Hero Baneling there. So SpyderSlayer has a lot of drones hanging out here on the right side, just hiding from where that base was that just got taken out by Yoshi. So trying to preserve any that he can.
Yoshi has recreated, SpyderSlayer has recreated most of the Vipers here. He's just kind of hanging them out at the back, which is a much better spot than right out in the middle. And, income is still looking kind of sad for both players, to be quite honest with you. Sub 500 mining, but, I mean, the map is basically completely mined out at this point. We're only approaching the 40-minute point. This is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I just see this as the longer this game goes on, the less I think that SpyderSlayer has a chance of winning this. This looks better and better for Yoshi as time goes on. And oh my goodness, look at that! Oh, Seeker Meek. Oh no! So many Banelings are getting destroyed there, and that's just brilliant by Yoshi. He's just trying to take out what he can. Those Seeker missiles doing huge damage to those Banelings.
At that point, he's basically killing resources.
Yeah, exactly.
Those Banelings not cheap, especially when you can kill them 10 at a time like that. And both players at about the same supply, but I mean the strength of Yoshi's army is pretty high. And it's very versatile, too. I mean, the Raven's a very versatile unit. These Thors put together with the 3/3 upgrades and Vikings. I mean, they all complement each other so well that there's not a lot they'd be able to do. I mean, there is a few SCVs here that are flying under some Mutalisks. And honestly, the carapace in those Mutalisks is so good that that turret can barely even hit them.
So nothing really in production. Okay, 22 more Zerglings are coming out now. And we see him just kind of turning those into Banelings.
Yeah.
There is, interesting, there's one roach on the map that's kind of in that middle ground in between, right next to the main base of Yoshi.
Oh, the Vipers are getting a little bit out of place again, and the Vikings able to pretty much one-shot them. Now it looks like he's just kind of exploring with those Ravens to put down some Hunter Seeker missiles, and it looks like he's going to try and fly the Muse right into the middle of the Ravens. Does not really get done what he was trying to do there, but did get a little bit of splash off.
So now the Corruptors are going in. Looks like they decided to back on up from that.
That was a brilliant move there by SpyderSlayer once those Hunter Seeker missiles were targeted on those Mutalisks to just try and fly them right in the middle of the Ravens. I think we saw Bomber do that once, and that was pretty insane.
Yeah. Yoshi continuing to take expansions that were once SpyderSlayers. SpyderSlayer is losing ground continuously here, and I don't know what he's going to come up with here to try and do something. It looks like Pathogen Glands is going down now. He's going to try and switch into Infestors.
I almost feel like SpyderSlayer is trying to bait some Hunter Seeker missiles at this point. All the point defense drones go down, so those Corruptors are not going to be able to do. He's actually getting a little bit low on energy on some of those Ravens that he's been so active with.
Yeah, I mean, if you can bait out the energy, then that's always a good idea.
Thors are starting to move up here into the natural expansion of SpyderSlayer. It might be overextending a bit as Zerglings and Banelings go in and blow up, and those Thors and get most of them almost dead.
Yeah, but they still have survived, and Yoshi's doing some really good micro with that medevac, moving them around, so those are going to retreat a little bit for now, but getting some good damage done. I mean,
you know what, Gallegation, though? SpyderSlayer still has an insane bank.
He really does, but I mean, look at his food right now. He's completely supply blocked. It's getting worse. The Vikings are moving around, hunting down any overlords that they can, and the number of bases has dwindled considerably. SpyderSlayer just doesn't have a whole lot that he can do at this point.
Yeah, Yoshi's now setting up orbital commands here and just muling them so that he can mine off them, putting down scans everywhere so he can see what's going on. This is definitely slowly falling in favor of Yoshi, which we would say he's been in control of this game for quite a while here.
Yeah, I think that Yoshi has really made the slow crawl back. It looks really good for SpyderSlayer at first. Oh my goodness, these drones on the right are just destroying the ice over here. I'm not entirely sure where they plan to go,
I
but
think they're trying to sneak around the backside here, possibly over up towards that way.
But now, I mean, Yoshi's moving into the main base with his majority of flying units. Only now is SpyderSlayer becoming unsupply blocked, but the Corruptors are moving in, realizing that this is now or never, and taking this fight. The Vikings are moving in, and point defense drones do go down to nullify a lot of that damage. They are forced to retreat, but yeah, the numbers are quickly falling, and SpyderSlayer is going to have no choice but to GG here real soon.
I mean, look at the units lost. It tells the story. 60,000 resources lost for SpyderSlayer and only 30,000 for Yoshi. That's actually really amazing.
Yeah.
That he's kept his losses so low throughout this entire game.
And I'm not entirely sure what SpyderSlayer is doing or what he's...
SpyderSlayer is making 12 Mutalisks is what he's doing.
Okay. I mean, he's going to be... yeah, I guess they haven't targeted his Spires, targeting like all his other...
he has cleared out this side mining base over here with some Zerglings, and they are slowly taking down some of these turrets, but I mean, I really don't think he has a way back into this, though.
I mean, if he can make these Mutalisks, I think what he's intending to do is try and go for a base race, but his map control is just dwindling so much.
Yeah, honestly, I think what happened is when we were about the time we were noting the huge bank that SpyderSlayer had, I think he was starting to get a little bit too inefficient with his money. Like he just made a few too many rounds of Zerglings and Banelings. Yeah, it was cool to go in and see all the SCVs blow up, but then when you look at the resources lost tab and it's 60K to 20K, you know, that could have maybe been something else.
So a small group of Mutalisks that were hanging out in the left side are now moving around. Not entirely clear what their target is going to be just yet.
These point defense drones are just fun to watch.
They're super effective here. That's for sure.
The Vikings are just kind of hanging out right on top of the spore crawlers now as the point defense drones have run out of energy. Not really much more to say. At this
Yeah, I
point.
mean, I don't know.
There's units for Yoshi, and there's no units for SpyderSlayer.
And he's getting some of these Mutalisks together. He's slowly growing the number that he has, but I'm not sure what he intends to do with them at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings taking some pretty good shots at him here, and about half of them are going to be destroyed. He's just going to go ahead and fly them in.
And that's going to be the last battle for them. And but we still don't see the GG.
There's the GG.
Okay. So Yoshi taking game number 2.
Yep, as a 48-minute game.
Yep. So,
But, man, I mean, that game going through the middle phases, it really was hard to tell exactly whose favor it was in. For so long, it looked like it was going in SpyderSlayer's favor, and then all of a sudden, like we mentioned, at least it seems like to me that he just started to get a little bit too efficient with resources.
too inefficient, I think you mean?
A little bit too inefficient.
Yes.
Something.
Yes. I mean, honestly, SpyderSlayer had so many bases. He had taken all the bases. He was trying to get a contain down on 3 bases for Yoshi. But Yoshi was able to get a core amount of units, and he was able to push out and take base after base after base. SpyderSlayer could not stop the mining potential of Yoshi, and that's what lost him the game.
Yep. Absolutely. So we are going to be going into game number 3. So go take yourself a restroom break if you need to. Get something to drink, something to eat. We may be here a while. So we will be taking a brief break, and we will be right back.